So now what am I going to do about a bonnet? That's what we call it here in South Africa. I think my friends in the UK and in Australia uses the same word. You guys in the States like to call it a hood. So in this video, I'm going to come up with a plan to cover up the front of this thing. Coming up. Hey, how's it, Oaks, and welcome back. Hey, and welcome to the new subscribers. Thanks for joining us out here in my forest workshop today. So in the previous video, I finished my roof job on this 1950 something Chevy. Very happy about that. Now I want to do something about a bonnet or a hood, and I don't have the original one. So I have to come up with some plan. Or maybe I can do something with this thing. There's a hole in my wall of scrap now. I ever now have some kind of a bonnet. This one actually came off a 1955 Commerce Superboys. It's quite a rare truck. It was made in the UK. Here is a picture of the original truck. It does not exist anymore. The cab has been used to build a rat rod. So let's see how this thing's going to fit. Well, the first thing I can see, it's way too wide and it's way too short. It's a good start, I think. Let me line up the one side roughly. So yes, it is definitely way too wide. So I'm going to cut it in half so that I can make it narrower. That's the first thing to do. Okay, here in the side view, this curve here works pretty well, but it's way too short in the back here. So I'm going to have to do something here. Yeah, so it's way too short here. I'm going to have to dream up something here. And then this has also got these strange square corners. So I'm going to have to cut them off or do something. You can see it there, same story. Maybe cut on that line. Oh, and please bear with the plaster. Sorry about that. Stuck my finger into the grinder. How many times have I done that in my life? Yeah. So it does need to be raised here. Stick that in so that this lines up. So yes, we're definitely not matching here. But it's a rat rod, there are no rules, I can do whatever I want. So I think I'm actually going to just cut this off right above this line here. And we'll have an open gap on the sides. Why not? I'm not quite sure what is going to happen here yet. There's a lot of rot here. That needs to be cut out. I'm going to have to join a piece in here. Maybe to tie up with that original line right there. I'm also going to have to think about the whole hinges. I don't think I can use these anymore. Yeah, so there's some challenges lying ahead to make this thing work. But I think I can make this work in some strange, distorted rat rod way. It didn't cost anything, so that's good. Fits in with the theme of budget building. It will definitely add some interest, and it would be the third brand that is involved in my build here. I've got my Nissan donor truck. I've got my Chevy cab. Now I've got a Commerce bonnet or hood. you got to start somewhere. So I started by cutting this thing in half. I went right through the internal bracing and everything. I just put it on the floor to cut it on this side because I thought it would be safer when it comes apart. I have positioned the first bonnet half and clamped on some straight edges to help hold it in place and line it up with the cab. So these straight edges are essentially extending the profile of my bonnet onto the cab section here, and it's pretty much a perfect fit, this line. Unbelievable. So I'm trying to establish cut lines here on this corner, and if all these lines confuse you, don't feel alone. I've lost the plot completely. Yeah, this is proving to be quite a challenge. I have no idea yet what I'm going to be doing up here, but now that I've got this one half on, I was contemplating how to hinge my bonnet, and now I've got an idea. I think I'm actually going to hinge it along here so that I've got two sides that can open like that. That should be quite awesome. So with that idea now stuck in my head, I think I'm going to make a structural member that runs across here that will be forming the attachment point for the hinges. So I was going to use the torch to bend this piece of flat bar, and then I thought, you know what, let me do it cold, it might be easier to adjust. So what I've done is I've just cut some slots into it, every about 20 mil or 3/4 of an inch or so, and bent it into this curve, which I then kept testing here against my bonnet curve until I had a good fit. So I kept fine-tuning it. By cutting the slots again, you can bend a little bit more, and so on. This is a piece of 30 millimeters wide by 5 millimeters thick flat bar, by the way. So let's give it a try. Something like that. So I have to leave this line straight because I want to hinge here. I don't think this line is right though. I mean, I'm looking at the line here from the grill and I'm thinking this should go closer towards matching it. Maybe somewhere there. I think I need to bend my piece a little bit more. So to get more curvature, I'm just going to open up my slots a little bit more and then bend it. Let's go try that. I want to make a piece that fits in here. So I've started with some old-fashioned CAD work. I'm sure you all know it. Cardboard aided or cardboard assisted design. And then the cardboard was used to make some hardboard templates. There's another one. So now it's not CAD work, now it's hard work, hardboard assisted design. So I'm going to make it in two pieces just to save some material. So I'm now going to cut some steel pieces to this shape. Right, here they are, one for this side and one for this side. I cut them out of 2 millimeter plate, some offcuts I had here. So now I'm just going to bolt this into place and I'm going to actually weld them together. Okay, lekker, so now I can tack my two pieces together. There we go. So I've taken a piece of 50 by 3 flat bar, that's 2 inches wide, 1/8 thick. And I've already pre-shaped it according to my template there.
So I'm going to stick this in here like that now and try my best to get it to follow the edge of this grill piece. The start looks pretty good. I'm just going to tack that in place. I'm going to work my way along now to make sure it's a nice good fit there, down here. Okay, let's do the other half. That should go in like that. I'm just going to tack it here at the beginning, where I start. Yeah, that will help a lot if you've got a earth on the thing, de Villiers. Let's try again. Okay, now I need to... Ah, it's looking great. Okay. Almost there. The clamp on here to line these two up. Alright, that looks pretty good. Good attack, yeah. One, yeah. Yeah, I think we're there. Gap here is a bit bigger than what I wanted it. That will be able to fill it up. That turned out great, man. Sometimes shit just works out. So my fancy bracket here is now going to provide a landing point for the bar that goes across the middle of the engine. So we call it the hinge bar, where the two bonnet halves will hinge on. I'm going to make this so that it's bolted onto this bracket so that I can remove it. This bracket can also be unbolted, and I'll weld it up fully when I take it off again. But for now I just want to work out things and tack everything together. So with this bar in place now, I got to make a final call on its shape. I can't seem to make up my mind. This line needs to be straight to provide the hinge points for my bonnet halves. This curve here is to match my bonnet pieces that I have. I think I would have liked this curve to be shallower, but that would mean that I have to reshape the bonnet pieces, and I'm not sure I want to do that, so I think I'm going to have to live with that. And then I need to make a final call on this angle. I first thought it needs to be more vertical, doesn't look good to me, so I'm just going to stare at this whole business for a while. And I also need to decide on this angle. I wonder. Hey, I don't know if you sometimes get the same, but sometimes it's just so freaking hard to make a decision. Trying to consider all the implications and the body lines and what it will look down the line. Well, I've made a decision. I got my half bonnet piece clamped up. I guess it's not looking too bad. So I need to make a call up here now. And what am I going to do around the corner here? So I think to start off, I'm just going to cut this parallel to that line. That is just the common sense thing to do, don't you think? Let's do this. Right, what am I going to do down here now? So what about here now? If I bend this around and I try and pick up that line in the front, something like that, except I can't really see from there, so you need to tell me. I'll have to watch the video after this to see what that line looks like. Yeah. Let me go and see. Okay, well, I found a way to clamp it, but I'm not sure that this works for me. I think I must try something else. So I'm extending this front line around this corner, as it were. That seems to be working. Yeah. Something like that. There's a sort of a crease line, a profile section, and there's kind of a knuckle, if I can put it like that, where I've made these dash marks. So if I just now continue this line the same amount below that mark, or those marks, something like that. Obviously needs to be smoothed out a bit. How does that look? So can you see my line? I can't think of anything else to do here. Oh, and by the way, please again excuse my dirty plaster. What else can I do? The show's got to go on. Well, you know what, it's late already, so I think tomorrow morning I will look at this with fresh eyes and maybe I will change it a little bit. So I'm going to go and see if I can get my private nurse to give me a nice new fresh plaster. It's a fresh new day. I've got a fresh plaster. I've got a fresh brain. And I'm seeing a new cut line here. So I'm going to settle for this line that follows the fender. Actually drops down a little bit here. Then swings around. I've got to get rid of this sharp corner here. That is not working. So I'm going to cut it like this now and then we'll see what we get. Why didn't I go do this outside? Freaking dust everywhere. Look, I just set my t-shirt on fire while I was grinding here. Asshole. This is what remains of that 1955 Comet bonnet. So what are we talking about? 75 plus years old British steel that's now going to go to the scrap pile. And it will probably eventually end up somewhere in China to become part of who knows what. So before I try this piece again, I'm going to add a flat bar here, effectively turning this into a T section. So I'm just bending my flat bar here around this profile, like so. And I'll put a clamp on here to keep it in place, and I will just tack it every 3 inches. And now I have a very snazzy T-shaped bracket that will be plenty strong enough, which will now go in like this, and it's bolted there and here in the front, so I can then remove it if I ever wanted to. Okay, let's try this piece of bonnet again. Something approximately like that. Stick that in there so it doesn't fall down. Something like that. To start with, anyway. I think we might be getting somewhere. I think I'm going to now start working on a piece that I can put in here to fill in this gap, which means it's time for some CAD work again with my cardboard here. I've been messing with this piece for a while already, so that's going in approximately something like this. That's the general idea. So I think I'm going to actually cut this out of a piece of 1mm 18 gauge steel and then stick that on here. So I still have this piece left from that sheet that I bought for the floorboards, and all the other bits and pieces I've been using has been on my steel rack. So far I haven't been buying any new material yet. So I'm just going to mark this out here and cut it out. So I've got it clamped that side. Let's just give it a try here and see what happens and how it works out. I think that's going to be fine. I'm just going to roll it a little bit right in this area here. So I've marked the line of the roll, if I can put it like that. I can do this over a piece of pipe, but I've got my little homemade slip roller, so I'm going to use it. Get this chappy in here, something about there. So it would just need to be in this area right here. A little bit more maybe. Okay, I'm going to guess and say even a bit more. Oh, maybe I should go try it first. Let's see. It's close, but a little bit more in this area here. I'm just going to tweak it and give it a little bit more of a roll right there, I think. Yeah, right there. Good old knee is not a bad tool for that extra bit of fine tuning. Very close now. just being held on with a clamp there, and yeah, I think it's a good enough fit. On this edge here I will stiffen it up with some round bar. Just needs to be fine-tuned a tiny little bit more. And then of course this line here I need to fine-tune as well. Oh, by the way, just got back from lunch and my wifey insisted I get rid of the burnt t-shirt, so I'm wearing a new one. I cut the cancer off the back end here, here. And then this internal bracing piece that used to sit in there now came loose, but I'm going to keep it for now. I might fit it back in again. So I was briefly contemplating butt welding the new piece in here. That's what I mean, so that it lines up and it's flush. And then my brain told me how much work that is. A lot of welding, a lot of grinding, dolly work and all the rest of it. So after thinking about it a little bit more, I decided, no, I'm just going to overlap it. I mean, we are just building a bloody rat rod. And an overlap, let me just get my other piece. So if I just overlap it like that, and just stack weld it all along here, and then do stitches, like I have on other parts of the truck, it will not only be a lot quicker, but it will also fit in with the whole theme. I mean, let's keep in mind what we are building here. Right, lined up, clamped in place. I've checked the crown across here to make sure that it doesn't, that we don't have a hollow there. So that's looking good. This side looks nice. I think I need to tack it together. So the microphone's batteries died during that previous clip, and only the forest could hear me speaking. But yeah, I'm just tacking it together now. I'm doing it every 1.5 inches. Just a light tack. Got my amps cranked up quite high, so I get pretty much instant penetration. Okay, so far so good, and now what? I've already had to clamp on a piece of support here, just temporarily to keep it resting there. The idea is now that this should happen. Oh, it's going to be quite cool if I can get it to work. So maybe I should start thinking about the hinges. I think so. Back to reality. Back to reality. Hey, I'm in trouble with the missus. I need to cut firewood for the upcoming winter, and I've already left it too late. So the truck's gonna have to wait a while while I do what I have to do. Thanks for watching my carrying ons out there and spending some time with me. Appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next video when I actually do build my hinges and try and finish the complete custom on it. Until then, have a good one.